I'm joined by my good friend Daniel today, all the way from New York, and he is going to go ahead and tell us a little bit about his job hunting journey this time around. Daniel, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
Really can't complain, man. Back to back on calls, helping you guys land jobs and reintegrating product managers back into the workforce. You've been a product gym member for quite some time now. Unfortunately, this time around, recently, you were also a casualty. You got impacted by the layoffs. Tell us a little bit about your background, and then also tell us about how difficult it was to land a product manager job this time around.
Sure, yeah. So I have around 5 years of full-time product experience. I started out working as an associate product manager for a company called Gannett. They're in media. I was working on their subscription team, focused a lot on subscription acquisition and retention. Ended up transitioning from that to a similar role at Business Insider. I was a product manager for subscription acquisition. Eventually decided to try to dip my toes into a bunch of different industries. Had some experience working in fintech as well as one experience where I was a part-time consultant for a B2B SaaS startup. My last role, unfortunately, was eliminated back in March of this year. And for, I'd say, 3 of those months, I spent a majority of my time trying to find a new job. To give you a sense of, first of all, my background with Product Gym before I go into this experience in particular, I've actually known Rich for a long time. I think I first got introduced into Product Gym when I was in between my first and second job. Unfortunately, that was also due to a layoff and only having around a year and a half of product experience. It was also a relatively challenging time to find a job, and I felt a little bit lost. From my perspective, the thing that really helped solidify Product Gym and its value was number one, the resources when it comes to helping users transition from everything else into product. I felt like that was really applicable for me as someone who was still relatively entry level at the time. Just having a course that gives you a rundown of everything was really helpful. Another thing that I felt like was really helpful was the unique way that Product Gym helps its users with strategizing the job experience as well as helping them with resources along the way. I had a ton of one-on-one courses, one-on-one time with Rich and other Product Gym members, as well as they had general coaching hours that I felt like was really helpful for me at the time as well. That really structured approach made it feel a lot less overwhelming than it would have been had I not had the experience. Now, one of the things that I really liked about Product Gym, and I still really do cherish, is the fact that once you become a member, you're always a member. And I found myself going back to Product Gym whenever I wanted to find something new. And I've used them for over 3 times in 3 different rounds of me trying to find a job so far. So I could definitely say that I've gotten my money's worth and that overall the organization is doing a really great job in making sure that there is a sense of community around people that have used its product before. Now, turning a little bit into turning now talking a little bit more about my current situation. Like I said, I was laid off again in uh, March of this year. And since then, I spent a lot of my time trying to find a new job. Unfortunately, it's been a really challenging job market. Um, Even with Product Gym's help, it was probably the hardest time that I had in trying to find something. I use Application Assistant as well as just applying for a ton of jobs on my own. And I really only got like a 1 to 2% response rate, which is much lower than I got any time before. So it was really challenging, but thankfully, having again that structured approach to helping you find a job really helped me feel a lot less overwhelmed, as well as just understanding that I had resources behind me that actually understood what I was going through. In a bunch of opportunities when I got laid off, I was given career placement services. And as much as those services are helpful, they don't understand the tech industry as well as I would have hoped. Also, I feel like a lot of the learnings that you might need to know for the product management job hunt really does require industry experts. Um, and a lot of the advice that I got from people in those services was very generic and not helpful. So being able to always go back to Product Gym and know that they're always caught up with the most recent industry trends was really helpful to me, and is part of the reason why I have continued to be able to bounce back relatively quickly after being laid off. And like I said, this layoff run wasn't the only time that I was laid off in my career, as unfortunate as it is, but at least I know that if it does happen again, I will have something to fall back on. And I really appreciate Product Gym for allowing members like myself to continue to use the service, even though I've had to use it more than once.
At the height of your game, with us here, this most recent one, how many interviews were you averaging a week?
I would probably say at the start it was less, then it started to pick up as I got more and more applications in. When I first started applying, again, I also use Application Assistant. They were applying for 30 jobs a day. I was applying for another around 30 jobs a day. It was more like two or three. And over the past couple of weeks, as more and more uh, jobs have been getting back to me, I've been getting more interview requests. However, during that time, um, I have started my new job, so um, I haven't really been entertaining a lot of those interviews. But it's great to see that the approach that Product Gym tells you to do eventually does lead to a decent amount of interviews, even in such a challenging job market.
So what we're here to do, man. How many offers did you end up securing?
Two offers in about 3 months.
Bro, that's killer. That's killer, especially in this market. That's
Yeah.
I think the most brutal tech hiring market, job hunting market ever, by far ever. Would you recommend anybody else take Product Gym?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. It was one of the best decisions that I made in my career. Um, I know that I always have something to fall back on, as well as a team that's dedicated to making sure that they're caught up with industry trends, as well as constantly releasing new content that helps me upskill as a product manager. So yes, I would recommend it to anyone that's interested.
Well, hopefully we don't just chat when you're getting laid off. Hopefully you're not going to be laid off for a while, but it sounds to me like you're in a pretty decent company. Yeah, man, can't thank you enough for this testimonial. As with all the product managers out there, I've been telling them go out there, start your own brand, diversify your income streams. Just because like the trend with product management is you're working until you get laid off. And it's just like, okay, now I got to go ahead and like, you got
Yeah,
to go ahead now and like diversify. Just because it's like being a coach for a sports franchise. You're managing the team up until they don't like your losing streak. And it doesn't really matter how many wins you brought them before, because that's just the neat
yeah,
nature of the business, right? It's a side that I think I'm going to dedicate some content on in the future, but that just seems to me like the product manager lifespan. And so many people they talk to me and they're like, yeah, it wasn't my first laid. I was like, well, if you know you're gonna play this game until you're
yeah.
gonna get laid off, and the average cycle is about like, I would say like 20 to 36 months, kind of behooves oneself to go up there and kind of short, like, you got a 18 to 36 month window to have
100%.
like a secondary income stream before you know it's going. For the people that were able to bypass that somehow, it's like if you've been at a company for 5 or 6 years, you know you're already in the danger zone because it's been 60 months plus since you haven't been interviewing. So if you went back on the job market, your interview skills just are not as sharp as somebody that's even coming out of our program for like 3 to 6 weeks into our program. So even though they have way more experience, right? So this time around, I'd really recommend joining the side hustle school. Get any type of side hustle going. Start it early and often. Just like dab at it because like you want to dig your well before you're thirsty. Because when things are good, you're like complacent. I'm not saying you like particular, but when things
Yeah.
are good, generally speaking, product managers are complacent, and then when they get laid off, they like don't have the mental bandwidth to go out there and focus on the side hustle. That's
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. The industry, it changed so much over the past 4 to 5 years. It used to be that when you got a job offer at a big FANG company, it was your job for life. It's not the case anymore. There's no job
Right.
security no matter where you go.
No, it is not. It is definitely not. So, I wish you the best of luck. Take it from me. Start that side hustle. Do not wait on it. Do not wait on it at all. Take a dab at it. Like any progress on it, you'll see a positive return. I'm gonna let you go on with the rest of your evening. I will see you very, very soon back in New York, my man.
Sounds great, man.